attended this webinar this afternoon or this morning or this evening, depending on your location. And what we're going to do today is talk about selling CRM. So there's lots of sales training out there available. There's lots of skills training and that sort of thing. But what we're going to do today is talk specifically about kind of what I've learned over the last 20 years selling CRM and Salesforce automation technology. So I hope you find it interesting, and I hope we can make you a better CRM sales professional by the time we're done. So I always start out my presentations, and I do a lot of training for Microsoft, for the ecosystem, and for both end users and partners. And what I really like to push is CRM is sort of a methodology to me and not really a technology. So here's the promise of CRM that I use. CRM is the business philosophy that lets you know your customers, prospects, and partners better, share information more thoroughly, interact more completely. This is achieved by creating a system that integrates people, process, and CRM technology. And then my mantra that I typically use is CRM is forever. Okay? So when I'm in talking to prospects and customers and partners about CRM, I'm talking about CRM as a better way to manage relationships. I also talk about CRM as not being an IT project that's going to take 6, 12, or 18 weeks to deploy. CRM is going to change the way your business operates. And I've been successful selling CRM because I talk about it that way. I talk about how it's going to improve your business, how it's going to improve the ROI of what your sales team, customer service team, marketing automation team, whatever it is doing. So this webinar today is really going to focus on that. This is a free webinar for a full-day workshop that we'll be having this fall at the Extreme CRM Conference in Anaheim. So I hope you can join us there as well. So what does it take to become a successful CRM sales professional? And at one point I had 12 bullets here, and I went back and I said, you know what, I'm going to come up with 8 things that I think are important to become a great sales professional in the CRM world. And the number one thing is you have to continue to extend your personal knowledge base. Now, your personal knowledge base when you're a CRM professional really is the technology, the Microsoft stack, CRM and how it works, the mobile platform, the ISV platforms, but you need to grow and learn as a sales professional. Myself, I've probably been through a couple of hundred sales books and tapes and videos and CDs over my sort of sales career, and it's always you're trying to learn and fine-tune things. So I think you really have to be open to knowledge and learn from others. What I love about the format of Extreme CRM is we have just CRM people in the room. And I know when we do our workshop, it's going to be fantastic because what we're going to be talking about is real-life knowledge, real-life expertise, and people that are day-to-day in the trenches, and how do we win, how do we close more business. Number 2, you need to be an effective communicator. I'll keep going back to different examples that I'll use over my experience, but it's important to be able to get in front of an audience, talk to that audience, and convince them that you're credible. So in our training, we're going to talk about many ways to do this, many organizations where you can go, such as Toastmasters, to get that sort of, think on your feet, conversational structure put into your presentations, but we'll be focused on that as well. Number 3, near and dear to my heart, your customers have to see you as a high-value partner. We're not going to be in there, sell them some software and get the heck out of Dodge. We need to say, you know what, CRM is going to change your business. We're going to help it change your business, and we're going to offer you the full meal deal, right? We're going to come in. We're going to help you analyze your business. We're going to help you build the solution. We're going to help you train and get that user adoption you need. And I'm not saying every project has to be custom. If you're an ISV or if you have a solution file that you're using for a specific vertical, that's fine too. But you really need to focus on getting the ROI for the customer and getting them to see you as high value. You need to know how to build solutions delivering strong ROI, return on investment. We'll be doing a whole module on this at the conference of how to really determine what that ROI is for the customer and to get them actually determine it for themselves. So I'm going to teach you how to ask the right questions to get the customer to think about the return on investment and how to really, make that dollar figure and CRM not being seen as a cost center, but being seen as an investment by the organization is something that they desperately need. Great CRM sales professionals are great time managers. Actually, I did a workshop this morning for 20 salespeople, and we had a long conversation about time management and how to effectively use your time. I'll show a study at the conference where we talk about salespeople spend about 25% of their time selling, 75% of their time on admin. So I'm going to show you a time management system that I use and that salespeople who've worked for me have used, and it really works, where we divide our time around existing business, new business, administration, block that time into our calendar, and we find it very, very powerful. Number 6, they need to build strong relationships with their business community. In the Dynamics ecosystem where we all live, we need to build relationships with other partners. We're all in this together. We need to work together, find strategic partnerships out there. We need to work with those ISVs, build good relationships. We need good relationships with existing customers in the user group communities. We need to build relationships with Microsoft and the people at Microsoft that are involved with the Dynamics community. So we're going to talk about some strategies, and I'm going to show you some really kind of cool things that I use around my LinkedIn strategy to kind of focus on building those relationships through social connecting. Number 7, know how to effectively leverage technology in your own business. And this is sort of a, I say this and smirk at the same time. How many CRM sales professionals are out there that don't really use CRM? And guess what? The customers can tell when you're doing demos if you don't use CRM. So I'll just leave that with you. And 8, you need to work a repeatable sales process. And we talked about this whole full contact selling methodology at the beginning. That's the repeatable process. I want to help you simplify sales, simplify that process, and work something that we can repeat over and over again. To just touch again, when we're going through this process, we want to build that high-value relationship. Low value, they desire no relationship with you. Mid-value, they bring you in to work on projects. High value, they bring you in to ask about strategy. That's the type of relationship you're going to build by working this repeatable process and be able to service that customer at a whole different level. So, how do we plan, measure, and move through success? And this is a difficult question sometimes, because when I look at a lot of different methodologies and books and time management systems, I find the whole thing to be very, very complex. If we look at this, we see vision, strategy, teamwork, idea. So let's try to simplify it in the world of selling, because I'm a pretty simple guy. Here's a slide I've been using for almost 20 years, right? The sales process is this. We got to find some leads. We got to find good leads. We got to find people that are interested in CRM and hopefully have entered the CRM buying process. We need to qualify those leads and make sure we position ourselves properly and they become prospects. We then move that prospect through our sales process and we create a customer. But we don't leave it there. We bring it back through again. Probably 50% of CRM revenues are left on the table. Many of the projects that I've been involved with from a consultant, from sales process consulting, I've gone in and, a partner, the IT department, have loaded up CRM out of the box, did some training, and walked away from it. And time again, the ROI is not there. The ROI is when we do it properly and people start to see a real return on their investment. Then they start to, buy the portals. They start to buy the mobile devices. They start to buy tablets and all this other thing, all these other items. So we really want to understand that process is repeatable, and we need to move that customer through it. I think this will be a big hit in Anaheim. We're going to go into detail and look at the CRM buying process. What does a customer actually do when they want to buy CRM? How long is that CRM process? I'm going to take you just through a few things right now, but we'll look at the first level. And remember, this is from the customer's perspective. There's going to be a requirement somewhere, all right? And that requirement starts either with the line of business because they realize they need CRM. It starts with the management team who they've been exposed to CRM at a previous job or through an association or something, come back to the office and say we need that. Could be a C-level executive coming in and saying, hey, we had CRM at my last company, or I need better reporting, get me the CRM I need. The IT department may be tired of redoing reports and trying to get everybody's data together for them and say, hey, you need CRM. Or as good partners, we may be in there doing other work for them, Office 365, AX, GP, and show them CRM and say, hey, you guys, you need CRM. Or if they're a managed account, it could be somebody from Microsoft walking in or calling them saying, hey, you know what, you need CRM. So that happens somewhere that triggers a company to say, hey, I need CRM. So it was interesting today when I did the session for the 20 account managers, probably 12 of the 20 had a CRM. Probably half of the ones who didn't have CRM probably didn't know what I was talking about when I was talking about CRM, and 4 were kind of playing around with contact managers and things. So really when we're looking at prospects, we want to be able to sort of qualify people that are kind of looking at CRM. We've convinced that they need it, and they're out there in the hunt for it. So they're out there. Now, when we start to look at the CRM buying process, we always look at the length of time. If I sit down with sales professionals in any technology company and I ask them, how long is the sales cycle for you to sell your product? I always get, between, 3 to 6 months. But we find when we start to go back and look at the first time we touched them, first time they contacted our website or showed up for a webinar, sometimes that goes to 8 months, 12 months, 18 months is not uncommon. So what we're going to do in the session is really start to identify the stages that that customer goes through. So they'll go out, they'll get that requirement, and then they'll have this internal discussion. That internal discussion will be, what do we know about CRM? Or we have an existing CRM that's not doing the job for us, we want to move to a different application. So they'll go and they assign a researcher, right? So someone's going to go and, it could be somebody from the marketing department working with somebody from the IT department, and where do they go? They go out to the web and they start to look at places like Microsoft, they'll go to partner sites, they'll look at competitor sites, but they'll also head to social media and see what's being said about CRM. So what's going on in social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So they're moving in stealth mode because they're really not leaving any tracks purposely, but we need to be able to identify which companies are out there and hunting around for CRM. So we're going to talk about, as sales professionals, what can we do to get ourselves have their project requirements created, they probably have their resources, timelines, and budgets created. Now they engage vendors. So they may be in this buying process for 6 months, 12 months before they'll get approved and go out and talk to vendors, and that's when they come to us with the last 3 or 4 months. Now, in the good old days of sales 15 years ago, we didn't have all this because we controlled the information. Now the information's out there. So this is going to change our sales process. This is the way we're going to work. But smart salespeople will be able to leverage a process to be able to get themselves in front of these prospects at an early stage. Okay. Sorry, we're just having a bit of difficulty with the up and down button. Okay. So here's the sales process that I teach. And what I do is I work with sales teams on how to build a process that's repeatable, but actually puts us sort of in the best shape to be able to identify, qualify, investigate, and close the CRM opportunity. So in this process, we're going to look at new business development and what we can do as a sales professional around new business development. We're going to look at opportunity qualification and how to qualify opportunities and make sure we're working on the right deals. We're going to talk about how to do an investigation. This is really crucial. And how do we know enough about an opportunity before we start to present our solution? We're going to talk about solution building and how to build a solution from a sales perspective, not from your analyst's or BA's perspective. Also, what do we need to do to gain commitment? So let's start to talk a little more of those in details along with customer management. So from a new business development, as a sales professional, we want to look at the reactive and proactive activities we have working for us out there. And the smart sales people don't just sell to prospects. They sell to people who can help them. So in our dynamics world, we sell continuously to our existing customers, right, because there's always more opportunity there. We'll sell to prospects, new people we think should be using dynamic CRM, but we'll also start selling to our network. Who out there refers business to us? It could be another partner, it could be people from Microsoft, it could be our PAM, it could be a lot of people depending on your business. If you have a vertical application you're selling, it could be a whole different world of people, but all these people need to be kept in your own personal CRM database, and we've got to have what I call reactive and proactive activities. So reactive activities, I'll just talk a little bit about. There's a lot to do with what we market to. So, you know, in my CRM system, I'll have internal Microsoft people in one list, I'll have prospect people in another list, I'll have association people in another list. And as we send out different pieces of information, webinars, updates, white papers, we send that message to different groups. So the message is a little bit different, but it's touching them on an ongoing basis. Those are things I call reactive, because we'll send a webinar invite out, want you to react to it to join our webinar. We also need to plan our proactive activities. What are we doing when we get on the call? You know, do we have calls scheduled with our network people on a regular basis to stay in touch with them? Do I have calls with prospects? Do I have calls with customers? Do I send out regular emails? So we're in the workshop, we're going to talk around some really cool strategies to be able to do this. We're going to talk about, once we create this lead, create this inquiry from somebody, how do we do research? I'll show you how we use, you know, products like LinkedIn and Inside View, which is one of our sponsors for this event, and how we can really research a prospect before we go in there. We'll talk about the importance of research too. And, you know, personally, I feel before I go in to talk to somebody, I need to know about the company and I need to know about the person. The reason I do that is I feel more comfortable and I think I can have a better conversation with them when I do that. We also will talk about doing a CRM, what I call a pursuit. Now, it's well known that most salespeople stop too early. So how do we follow up with somebody? How do we contact somebody? I'll show you some sample emails that I've used over the years that are pretty effective. So I usually go email, phone call, email, right, on my follow-up, and then I'll continue with a few more emails after that before I'll give up. So it's usually around 7 or 8 contacts, and then I'll put them into a marketing list where they'll be invited to webinars and things. So you really got to make sure that you have this fine-tuned, because you don't want things to fall through the cracks, and that's where many sales opportunities get left. So once we get a hold of somebody and we qualify them, we need to learn how to ask questions. And I think this is what really separates good salespeople from great salespeople. And I don't want to insult any people from the IT side of the house or developer side of the house. This is really what separates the salespeople from the developers. I found when we're working with developers, they can't wait to get in to show the technology. Whereas really, I can't wait to get in to talk to the prospect about their business. I want to learn about your business. I want to learn about your project. I want to learn about what you're doing. And then once I have that information, I can then position myself properly to solve your problems, to position CRM to work best for your business. So we're going to talk about, in the workshop, we're going to talk about how to ask generalized questions, then how to ask specific questions, and then how to ask ROI questions. So there'll be 3 categories of questions. And here's some of the areas we talk about. We'll talk about application readiness. When's this project going to happen? What are your current conditions, or what are your current problems? What's your current technology landscape? Are you running SAP or are you running QuickBooks? There's a big difference in my mind when I'm selling to the two. Competitive landscape. Who else is in there from a different software vendor to other partners? What's your Microsoft temperature? How well do you like Microsoft? Very important when I'm selling in this environment. If I'm going to talk about stack, I want to make sure that they have a Microsoft stack before I start going down that road. I want to find out, how do you feel about cloud computing before I go down that road. So we're going to talk about how we ask these questions. Project size and scope. And it could be current size and scope, but how big can it go? Lots of projects start out with 10, 20, 30 users, end up being 2,000. How to ask questions about the decision-making process. How to ask questions about the contact's role, ROI drivers, and RFP requirements. I'm just getting a warning here that I'm having difficulties with the audio, so just give me one moment, please. I think it's passed. Okay. So once we understand this landscape, the technology, the project, the decision-making process, then we have to, and I marked it in red here, because we really have to understand how to position ourselves. And it's position ourselves even in our conversation, even in our slide deck demo, even in how we demo the software to them. All this information we're going to gather. So we're going to spend a big part of our workshop talking about how do we do this investigation and what does it mean to position ourselves correctly going forward. From positioning, we're going to go to presentation. Another important piece that's neglected most of the time. Presentation does not mean software demo. Okay, we're going to talk about how to present to people, how to work a room, how to body language, how to position yourself, all this key stuff that really, really helps you. We're going to talk about the effective use of PowerPoint. And every CRM presentation or any solution presentation, you really need to talk about who you are, what you do, why you're successful. You need to get their attention. Then we're going to talk about how to do a real knockout demo. We're going to talk about how to demo to end users. we're going to talk to how to demo to administrators, and we're going to talk about how to do that IT demo. And we're going to talk about how we may not want to do that demo all at one time, how we may want to break it up. So we'll really be focused on, creating that knockout presentation. Then we'll talk from a sales perspective about needs analysis, creating a project roadmap, which really means how much do we bite off of the whole project going forward. We'll talk about building and presenting proposals, how to have a clear definition in your proposal, so how people understand what the investment's going to be. I'll make a point here that many times I'm hired by customers to find them a CRM vendor, and I absolutely find it amazing at the types of proposals I receive. In fact, I've been doing this 20 years, and I'll read a proposal and I'll have no idea what this costs. So it's important to be able to build a proposal, and then how do you present that proposal to the group? Do you mail it in, right? Do you fax it to them? Do you email it, or do you try to email it and then come and present it live? And how should it look graphically? Important, because if there's 5 proposals on a table and 5 of them look really nice graphically and 2 don't, the other 3 may get shortlisted, and the 2 that don't look good may not make it. You may find that a little odd, but I've been in the room where that's happened. Okay. Now we're going to get into the fun part. How do we close business? We're going to talk about overcoming objections. And you want to overcome objections throughout your sales process. And when someone tells you your price is too high, that's not an objection, that's them negotiating with you. So we're going to look at the most common objections for CRM, and we're going to talk about how to overcome or how to move past those objections. We're going to do a little bit on negotiation. Negotiation is really an art form that takes, a 1 or 2 day workshop to get through. But we're going to get into some negotiation tactics. We're going to talk about how to save your margin, right? Which to most sales professionals mean how do you get more commission and be able to keep that commission. We're going to have an open discussion on beating the competition. At the Extreme Conference, there's several compete sessions we're going to be able to attend. The compete session we're going to do is we're going to look at our main competitors, which we all know who they are, and we're going to talk about how did we beat them. I've got a couple of great examples where I've beaten our main competitor over the last year, and I hope that other people will be bringing those examples with them. And then we can start to dissect it and say, okay, this is how we need to position ourselves, and this is how we need to win more business. Then we're going to look at, once we go to close things, 1 of 3 things always happen. No decision, lost, or won. So we're really going to look at, what do we do when there's no decision, and how do we build a keep warm strategy? Very, very key here. So if I get no decision and they don't buy, don't kick them out of the sales process. That means they're a good, qualified prospect that may buy in the future. So how do we build a keep warm strategy? That also may work when we're actually qualifying early on and we find out that a prospect like CRM had CRM at their last business, but they're not going to get any budget for this year. How do we build and structure a keep warm strategy to make sure we don't lose it and fall through the cracks? If we lose a deal, how do we dissect why we lost, and then what do we do to try to win it back? If we win a deal, great. How do we move them through to that account management process? And what does an account management process look like? We can't treat everybody the same. We just don't have enough bandwidth. So what's an A customer, what's a B customer, and what's a C customer to us? And how do we manage that customer? What do we need in an account profile when we sell Dynamics? Who should we have in that account profile from a customer perspective? When I go into most organizations, we'll look in the CRM and the only person's name there is the accounting person because that's who we collect the bill from, right? If we sell CRM and we have an A customer, we better have, senior sales, marketing, customer service, line of business people in that database. Because from an ongoing perspective, we need to touch that customer on an ongoing basis. If we, Microsoft just bought a marketing automation company, well, we should be able to go into our database and go after our marketers and say, hey, I want to share this announcement with you. Great news. Social media with NetBreeze, that type of thing. Let's share it with the right people. And it all means and we know, we're CRM people, right? We know that takes seconds to do from your Outlook browser. I'll show you what I do when I get somebody who comes in new. I, right-click, I add them to CRM, and then I jump over to LinkedIn and I link into them. So I have them captured in my profile, and so I can use them in the future and not lose them in the future. We'll talk about opportunity analysis. We'll talk about upselling, cross-selling, how to approach accounts that way, and then what do we do from account development. So we're going to lay some strategies on you really to move you back through this process and really build a closed-loop system for selling that's repeatable. Repeatable for yourself. For management, it's repeatable for a team. For organizations, it's repeatable for a division. And what's great about laying out a sales process like this for you is you start to fine-tune it. I've built many sales processes for many non-CRM companies. So you may have a process for small accounts, mid-size accounts, enterprise accounts. You may have a little different process if I'm selling cloud, right? But this becomes the core. How do we find? How do we qualify? How do we investigate? How do we gain commitment? How do we repeat? Once we have a process like this, it now allows us to measure. Are we getting enough new business in? Are we qualifying? Are we investigating? You'll be able to analyze your own business, and if you have reps working for you, you'll be able to analyze where they sort of have shortcomings and be able to coach. You know what I love about selling? I love a lot of things about selling, but it's the little things that make a difference. If I have a close rate of 20% on my leads, and I build a process, I fine-tune that process, and I can move that close rate up 10%, from 20 to 30%, I have just increased my sales 50%. Okay, so keep that in mind, that the fine-tuning of a sales process means a lot over time. Building a process like this is going to give you a sales annuity. It's not going to be, we work hard, we get some prospects in, we try to close as many as we can, then we start from zero again. No, we're going to have a business development engine working in the background with people I qualified 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago, coming back into the sales cycle. So it's all very, very exciting. So I'm going to end this presentation today. When selling becomes a process, you take care of most of your business problems. So hopefully we're going to have a couple more of these webinars leading up to Anaheim, but hopefully we'll see most of you in Anaheim. And remember, link into me. Rick McCutcheon's pretty easy to find on LinkedIn, and you'll be able to find me also on the Extreme CRM website. So we've got our advanced skills for Microsoft CRM professionals, Power Up Your Sales, coming Sunday, November 3rd, 2013 in Anaheim. I'm going to help you shorten your CRM sales cycles, achieve better closing rates, improve margins, plan and forecast better, create long-term win-win relationships, and at the end of the day, hopefully you'll earn more commissions. So thank you. I'm going to
Hey, Rick, thanks a ton. I was so busy taking notes during the whole webinar, but I really triple underlined a couple key concepts there. One is to really set out your value, understand what your value is, and be set on it. The other thing that I triple underlined was really overcoming the objections. That's great, thinking on that. And the third thing that I underlined was it all about being a process. So thanks a ton. I think you've really helped all the listeners on the call today to be able to, so they can go out and close more deals faster. And remember what Rick said, everybody. You can build on your learning from today's webinar further by attending that full-day workshop Rick is going to deliver in conjunction with the Extreme CRM 2013 Anaheim Conference. November 2nd is the training, 3rd through the 6th is the conference. I'm going to include a link to our website so that you can go find more information about registration and get signed up for the training and the conference in about an hour. That should come out to you. And I need just a little bit of time to let the recording render up onto the servers, and I'll get that link for you. And just to remind everybody, due to popular demand, we couldn't serve everybody today. So what we're going to do is repeat this webinar 3 more times. It's going to be July 25th, August 15th, and September 19th. I've included that in the follow-up email as well, so feel free to pass it on to your friends. Let them know that they can participate in this webinar and they can learn how to close more deals faster as well. So last but not least, just keep an eye on our website, on the Extreme Team website. You'll have a link there in the follow-ups as well. We'll have more webinars that we're going to launch and we're going to host along the way, but we'll certainly list them there. So we're going to open it up for questions. If anybody wants to raise their hand and open a question and ask a question, feel free. You can do that now. We'll watch for that on the on our monitors here. And we'll see if we can't open up your lines as you ask them. So questions, go ahead and raise your hand. If not, we're going to close it down here in about 30 seconds.
John, one question I get all the time is there a difference between selling cloud solutions and on-premise or partner-hosted solutions? And I know there is from an IT perspective and how we support IT, but really I'm finding more and more the customers almost made up their mind, which way they want to go. And the way I position CRM is we're selling the ROI. We're selling how it's going to improve your business processes, how it's going to make you a better organization. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me when I'm selling CRM how you want to be able to host it. It just may make it easier to deploy it in the cloud.
Yeah, Rick, I'm glad you brought that up because that is a huge concern from partners when I talk to them on a daily basis, and every time we interact. It seems like the whole shift to the cloud-based business is a strain on partners coming from an on-premise licensing perspective. So I'm glad you brought that up. So. Thank you for that input. I don't see anybody raising their hands at all. Does anybody else on the call see them? I don't. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Sure do appreciate you attending the call. We'll get a follow-up survey for you as soon as I shut down the webinar here, and you'll see that. Please complete that if you would, and look for the follow-up email for us. So thank you. Have a great day, and happy selling.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.